that. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get where you got to get, right? But don't back down. It's just like I'm headed to West Palm Beach, Florida for a convention. Everything in West Palm is like pricey. But remember, we're expensive. So opposed to drawing back, release your faith. God, I thank you, Lord, now that I'm releasing my faith for this money. I'm releasing my faith for these resources. I am not backing down, Katie. Don't back down, lean in, push through, break through. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. Hopefully that's clear and you guys get that. Now, let me tell you something. When we talk about this, and I want to get to the book, but this is important. Isn't this cute? It says, I am a millionairess. Y'all pray out these cups. I got these dishes. They so dope. But I got it. This is just a prototype. I got to get the real thing with the packaging. It's coming. So just keep praying for it, Tanisha. We're going to manifest these millionaires dishes, honey. We're going to manifest it with some cute packaging, child. But anyway, this is really important because here's the thing. Nadine Chase, shout out to her. Powerful director of prayer for this group. Honest to God, we are praying for y'all every day for opportunities. We're praying for your contracts, your business ideas, and all that. And I realize sometimes you can have a ton of ideas, a ton of opportunities, but I want you to be discernful. When I say discernful, I've just learned over the years that every opportunity is not necessarily the right opportunity for you. All money is not good money. Okay. All money is not good money. I want to have the God kind of success. And though I am willing to do business with people that don't believe like I believe, that may not live like I live, I still have to use discernment and what opportunities I take and what opportunities I don't take. Because you got to remember, see, every level of authority, every level of influence, every bit of money. And this is why character was so important, because I remember when I still like had very little. And I was believing for all this, that, and the third. And every level that God took me up, he was saying, okay, now I want you to watch your attitude here. Okay, because the higher you go, the narrower your path becomes. So the stuff that I could get away with 5 years ago, I can't get away with now. Holy Spirit is like, I put you on way too many platforms for you to be still eating on this baby food right here. Put that baby food right, child. But wait, I'm expecting more from you now. You're not on pull-ups anymore. Where are your panties? Right? So that's what God does with us sometimes, where our attitudes are concerned, how we think about people are concerned, how we just perceive things. And so, you know, anytime promotion gets ready to come, Holy Spirit always starts talking to us about this stuff. He really has been talking to me about it and my husband, and we've continued to make adjustments in some areas of our life where our attitude or how we thought about things were concerned. And I'm so excited to, Chatter just got picked up by Fox, so yay, praise the Lord. So we're going out to LA to film that first episode. We're going to kick it off for Easter. And then I just got another opportunity to do a reality show with my sister, actually. And we'll be filming the Scissor Reel for that March 4th. But what am I saying to you? That when those opportunities come, like that's the time to be excited, but also very sober. That's the time to be like, okay, so who much is given, much is required. And the biggest thing that God will probably always talk to you about is your love walk. He's going to talk to you about that love walk. I'm telling you, he's coming for your love walk. He's coming for your love walk, because he's not giving you influence. He's not giving you money, and he's not giving you power for you to get up there and act a fool or say, nah, 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 nah. And there are things in our hearts sometimes that have been sitting there a while that the Lord wants to uproot and deal with. And so I just want to say that, because all of you guys, and just today, this is honest to God truth, just today, just after church, we had, oh gosh, maybe 3 people come up to us with like major significant increase. One 6 figures, another one, another amount. And Ben and I got home and we were just like, yep, it's happening. Harvest time is here. People have planted seed. They've been believing. harvest time. And so we can really see that there is definitely a pickup of momentum of increase coming people's way, and it's going to come your way. And so it's just important to me for the ladies of the club, as we talk about wealth, and as I want you to walk in wealth, I want you to also be very mindful. You know, there's a scripture that talks about walking circumspectly. And just because I can do doesn't mean that I should do. And I just want us to guard it, because the quickest way to lose success is a bad attitude. And sometimes, I'm telling you right now, sometimes it doesn't happen right away. Pastor Melva ministered at prayer school, was so good. And she talks about how, you know, things are going great for a while. She had kind of disconnected, and then, you know, looked up and was like, wait a minute, how did I get here? So let's just all, you know, commit to staying grounded and sober. And remember, the focus should be you and what you have to work on and what you change, and not other people. The minute you find yourself constantly having opportunities to talk about other people, their flaws, their issues, their things that bother you, you probably are beginning to start to walk in error, because Holy Spirit is never going to magnify another man's character more than he magnifies your own. So it's best to just work on you. Okay. All right. Asha, where do we leave off in reading, babe? I'm on my Kindle. I want to say, was it like page 60, baby?
If I'm not mistaken, we're on chapter 7 and 8.
Chapter 7 and 8, Mill?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And don't forget to have fun along the way. Okay. If y'all haven't figured it out, I'm a goofball. Okay.
Stephanie
Now,
said
chapter 7.
page 70. Thanks, Stephanie. She came through and said page 70.
Thank you, Stephanie. All right, bet. Let's go to it. Let's get to it. All right, so medical bills. All right, so the same thing applies. Oh yeah, because Asha did it last time. Shout out to Asha. I heard the book club was off the chain. Thank you. Okay, so medical bills. The same thing applies to your medical bills. A lot of times financial aid is available for old medical bills. Go ahead and call the hospital and say, hey, this bill is outstanding. I know I owe this. It's going to collection soon, but I want to work something out. I've got this huge bill, but I can't afford it. You guys have any kind of financial aid that I can apply for to help pay the bill. Hospitals have what they call angel investors. So they also have all kinds of stuff. So the whole point of me putting this in the book is because I want us to be, you know, mindful of the fact, though we're reaching for all of these things, it is also very, very important that we pay our bills. It's not cool to be shopping and vacationing and doing all of this stuff, and you haven't even talked to your creditors. Like, sit down and work out a plan. There were times in times past where I was on an installment plan with the IRS. Now I pay them in one check. Thank you, Lord. But now, because of the trust, my liability has have been reduced significantly. But my point is that you got to be a person that pays their bills. At least communicate. You know what I'm saying? At least communicate. Hey, I know this is owed, but this is when I'm planning on doing it. And so every single month or every single week, I pretty much know exactly what needs to be paid. I try to set up most things on auto pay. But again, if you can do auto pay, because the money is funny, sometimes your money, you believe in God and you like, I can't put it on auto pay because I got to make sure it's there. That's real, but at least put it on your calendar to show that you're responsible. Because if you cannot be responsible with paying $3,000 worth of bills every month, then you're probably not going to pay $30,000 worth of bills every month, and so on and so forth. So just make sure that you stop and reach out, because medically, a lot of times they do have things out there like that. Same thing with homeowners insurance. Pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to bundle my homeowners insurance and maybe my car insurance together. If you call them and say, hey, I'm thinking about leaving and going over to another insurance company, a lot of times they'll say, okay, wait one moment, ma'am, let me see what we can come up with. Okay. So that's really important. And the same thing with credit card bills. Now move over to page 71. We're talking about always buying pre-owned cars. Okay. Now, I'm a strong believer in this, because when you go and buy a brand new car, the depreciation is crazy as soon as it gets off of the lot. You know what I mean? And there was a time I bought brand new cars, but then I realized it wasn't a good deal. Now, in our Detroit home, I did lease that vehicle because it made sense, because we're not putting that much miles on it. So I leased a brand new vehicle, but all our other cars for like our main homes, we may do that for secondary and third homes because it makes sense to lease, but our main homes are all pre-owned vehicles. And what we do, I haven't had a car note for the most part in probably like 10 years. My car notes, when I get a new car, I usually have a car note for maybe 6 months. After that, like I'm paying that thing off, right? And so what you want to do is get to a point where you pay your car off. And then when you're ready to get a new car, work to get cash to pay the difference to get the new car. So it should be sell the car. I recommend always using cars.com because if you go and trade in that vehicle with a dealership, they're not going to give you nearly as much. They're not going to give you nearly as much. So you definitely want to make sure that you sell the car yourself. Cars.com is great. I've probably done that with my last, I don't know how many cars, where I've just, hey, paid it off and then put cash with it, right? So that's important, okay? So I wanted to mention that. Also, and then I would recommend, hi baby. I would recommend teach your children kind of to do that same thing, pay off that car, and then just look at paying the difference, okay? All right, cool. Same thing with credit cards. I think the ideal credit card to have is American Express. If you've been around the club for a while, that's my favorite card because you have to pay it off in 30 days. It also allows you to earn points where you can use those points. I have so many points on my credit card that most of the time I don't, have to pay for travel. I don't have to pay for rental car. I don't have to pay for hotel, or I have to pay for it, but maybe just a small difference because I use so much. I have a Visa credit card, but for the most part, but it's a zero balance. The only thing that I use on a regular basis is American Express because it does earn a lot of additional points that allows me to, use those things for travel, hotel, and rental car. And then even when you make purchases on Amazon and things like that. And then a lot of times when you go into like the airlines, how they have those lounges in there, whatever, where you can hang out during a layover. If you have American Express, then you can actually, I got it. Thank you, baby. You can actually go hang out in the lounge if you have American Express. American Express is also really, really great for international travel. I also like it too, because if you have employees or independent contractors, you can give them that American Express card with their name on it. It builds their credit. But in addition to that, you can put a, spending limit, depending on the project. You can say, okay, you have access to this card, on this project or while we're traveling. And then you can put the limit on it. Then right after it, you can freeze it. So when we would fly our chef out to do family vacay, he would go pick up his own rental card because he had his own card. He would go grocery shopping with his own card. And then I would tell him, this is your budget. And then I would cut it off after that. And then after that trip was over, I could take it back and freeze the limit. So American Express is a really great card for allowing you to scale your business, to take your business to the next level. I think is probably the best one. And then especially if you have children or something like that, if you want to help them build credit, you can get them cards and stuff like that. Okay. All right. Ideally, those cards should not be used to live off of. You definitely don't want to, get to a point where you're living off of those cards. All right, now let's go to chapter 8. So when I talk to you guys about things like, the crypto hedge fund or silver, remember, we're investors. So as an investor, you're always going to be looking for those opportunities. I'm going to say this, every opportunity, I vet companies. And this is why I asked you guys not to put, if you hear about, something, oh, they're paying 1% a day. Don't put it in the chat because I haven't vetted it. And even if I vetted it, doesn't mean it's 1,000% sure, but I know pretty much what I think is going to have some longevity to it and things that maybe aren't going to have longevity to it. So you have to be really careful, because right now, everybody is trying to get in on crypto. Everybody is, everybody's just trying to get in on the thing. And I'm not mad at them, but I also don't trust everything that comes my way, because I already know that a lot of these things have a 6-month shelf life, or they have a year shelf life, or some of them, like some of the people talking about their trading, they're not even trading. They're actually using people's money, new money coming in to pay the old people. It's like almost classic Bernie Madoff, right? So, but you have to know what to look for. Are they registered to the United States? Have they been FTC approved? Things that you just wouldn't know to look for unless you've been around. So just be really, really careful about just jumping into opportunities because somebody called you and told you that this was happening, especially in the world of crypto. Most people know, people with tea companies are trying to get into crypto. I'm not mad at them. That's smart. They're trying to get their hands on it, but just be wise. I don't get in everything just because I hear it. I mean, honest to God, I have a lot of opportunities that come my way, on a day-to-day basis, but a lot of those things I'll pray about, I'll vet. And so the things I share with you guys are things that I vetted, and things more than likely that I've, stuck my toe in and did. Some of you asked about the oil company that I was involved in. I have took that information down because I was like, no, they made some payments, but then when they stopped making the payments, I'm like, no, take that down. So right now, oil is not really hot anyway. Drillers haven't really gone back to work like that. So there's just a lot of things in the financial landscape that you have to kind of know that, everything is not going to be something that I go into. For example, when I get ready to make decisions where my money is concerned, I have a couple wealth advisors that I consider to be on my wealth advisory team that I know really understand crypto, really understand real estate, and really understand oil. And before I make a decision, I'm calling them saying, hey, have you heard about the person? Have you heard about the company? I don't necessarily scare if they're known for being scammers, because I think anybody making a lot of money they're probably going to call them scammers. So I don't necessarily look for that, but I am looking for the players. I am looking for how long they've been around. I'm looking for other people that have done business with them. You definitely want to do some vetting. So I would say put together your wealth advisory team. Verna, I know you're called beautiful. Put together your wealth advisory team. I should be there. If you're paying your money, that's the whole point. Hey, call Jewel. Okay, this is da 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 da. Somebody called me. They was about to spend I think it was, I don't know, $600,000 on this franchise deal. And I said, send me the numbers. And I looked at everything and I'm just like, I just don't think this is smart. I would do this with this money. And they're so excited because it's just it was just things they were not thinking about. You see what I'm saying? So get that wealth advisory team. And don't let everybody just come and tell you something. I should be one of your wealth advisors. Somebody else on the club, the team members, Mill, she's been around a long time, so she knows how I vet stuff. I'm listening to my gut. I'm also listening to my ear. I'm waiting for confirmation. She manages, pretty much the whole thing. So she sees the numbers, and I'm very, very particular when it comes to that stuff, because you don't become a multiple millionaire just by being a rabbit running after every rabbit. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to make sure that that's really clear, because I don't want anybody here to be deceived or taken or, anything like that. Mill, you work with the numbers. Anything else you want to add to that?
I would just say everything that you said was really, really good. And one of the things that I would say is go with your gut when you hear certain things, but also don't be overly anxious. Like Dr. Jewel mentioned, there are a lot of things that are coming down the pipe, but be willing to be teachable, because all of us, have desires financially that we want to accomplish. But when you don't posture yourselves to vet something or go to mentorship, like Dr. Jewel said, you can put yourself in a position to have an unnecessary loss. And so just knowing that the industry that we're in, the reality is many of us desire to be able to live off the interest. So we're going to always be looking for ways, oh, I could just put some money here and do this and that. Some of the things that I pay attention to as well, that like Dr. Jewel mentioned, is that, like how long has the company been around? Who do I know? Or is there someone that can show me, verification that they've been doing it and they've seen results? And stuff like that. Things that I would say are flags is if, like, for example, somebody sent me a message on social media, and y'all probably got this, and they're like, okay, give me $500 and I'm gonna turn around and give you 5,000 in 5 minutes on Cash App. Like, people are always looking for get rich quick. It's been even a couple of people in the club like, man, this happened. You know what I'm saying? But that's why we can't be trying to chase opportunity, but being spirit led in what moves that we make. And even for me, everything that I see, most of the time I'm like, but if it's something I'm thinking of, like Dr. Jewel said, I'll send it to her and be like, hey, such and such showed me this. It looks like it may be good. You know what I'm saying? So when I do that, sometimes she'll say something, but I'm listening to the voice behind the voice, and I'll be like, nah, don't do that one. And then shortly after, it's like, yeah, that was a bust. You know what I'm saying? And so just us understanding that, especially where cryptos are concerned and all of that, everybody's, jumping into the game, like she said. And some of these companies really don't know a lot, but what they've done is looked at other models to try to create something because they know people are looking. Right. And they will take advantage of the lack of knowledge.
That's exactly what happens.
Yeah. Yep. And so everybody in this space with the Millionaires Club, you have access to the knowledge, you have access to the resources, you have access to the mentorship. So just making sure that you're taking advantage of those different things, because it can save you a lot of heartache. And then just not being anxious trying to be a millionaire overnight. I think that's what it comes to, because, like, you can be like, to be around Dr. Jewel, like, she's a boss, like, for real. Like, I be like, man, I'm grateful, like, to see where I get to go. You know what I'm saying? And so with that, it's like, okay, Camille, even in all that, what work are you going to do? But don't be anxious and take this 10,000 and be like, let me get this to this person, because they said they could flip my 10,000 and give me 1% a day. So if I put that 10,000, I'm going to have this, this, and this. But I didn't do the vetting process, and then it doesn't work out the way that I wanted it to, And so just putting it in safe spaces and, not being anxious, but being spirit led in it.
Yeah. And then teachable. That was good, Mill. Thank you. And just staying teachable. So I had one particular investment somebody told me about that I trust. I would consider them a wealth advisor. Every time I've made, they've called, I've always made money. So I said, okay, I'm gonna throw 62,000 in it to get started. Tested it out a couple months. I really liked it. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna throw another 300,000 in it. And I'm like, okay, I like it. I'm about to throw another 6 figures in it. But I tested it. And then I talked to those people that were all in this together. You see what I'm saying? And even just, I was on the phone with Joe about 20 minutes ago. Then my oil guy, Luke, called. And Luke was like, hey, this is what's going on with the oil investment. And a group of us are getting together on a Zoom this week. We have some things happening with the drillers, and he's like, you have great decorum. Do you want to lead that conversation? But there's this other Asian guy who's worth about 30 million out of Hawaii. I said, no, let's let Robert lead this conversation. Know your place. Don't feel like you got to act like you know everything. Like, he knows more about the oil business than I know about the oil business. Even though I feel like I've been in the oil business about 8 years, but he still knows, I feel like, more than me, and he's been in it longer than me, and he has more vested in me. You know what I mean? This last project, I didn't put as much in. So you just gotta, get with, like I said, get that wealth advisor team. And if they call, you listen. If they make a recommendation, you listen. Because I just recently I have people call me all the time. Hey, I think you should do this. And it's similar to what I'm doing, but I was like, and it was so funny because my husband was like, I think I'll try that. And I said, well, let's see, baby, and anyway, we ended up not doing it because it was like, it just didn't feel right. And it had too many holes in it. You see? So again, I just want you guys to use the access that you have. I'm blessed to have access to, folks out here doing it. I take advantage of that access. You have access to me. You have access to other ladies on the club. Hey, what do you think about this? Because what can happen is you can end up running after a rabbit and spend 1 to 5 years running after that rabbit. And you should have just stayed where you were, maybe pivoted a little bit. So I want us to be mindful of that. Okay, chapter 8. Let's go over to diversification. Okay. Diversification is essentially mixing a wide variety of investments into your portfolio. Other than what's already listed on the financial pie, I don't think it should be too diversified though. Okay. I think you should pick an industry and stick to it. Now, my industry of choice is tech. I think if it's around tech, you're good. If it's around tech, even now, the medical industry is good, but you got to be careful because what about, okay, I'll talk about that with next, so Stacey. You got to be careful because the vaccine, now they're talking about this new thing, B1 or B2. I don't know. Ashir probably could tell us, but they said the vaccine doesn't work for it. But I do think medical is good. I would say tech would be number 1 and then medical would be 2. For me, those are my 2 industries of choice that I've made the most money on. I'm not really gonna go, I'll say the third one would be like lumber, because everything in real estate has gone up. If you're building, it's gone up. If you're rehabbing and redecorating, everything has gone up. Lumber, drywall, tile, bricks, all that is gone up, and I think it's going to continue to go up. Now with Nexo, I don't think you have to really be concerned about your crypto exchange. Let me tell you this, if you put your money on Nexo or Celsius, and if you took out a loan on it, you're not going to be able to pull it out anyway. Like I took out a loan on mine, so I just have to wait, right? Especially since crypto is down right now. I would just keep it. They're just saying they're not going to pay interest on future crypto, but current existing crypto, you still can earn interest on it. If you have not taken out a loan, sure, you can pull it off of Nexo or Celsius. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I don't think it's a rush. I think they're just having to play the SEC game, just like XRP had to play the game. You know what I mean? I wouldn't put any more on it, but I don't think we have to hurry up and, pull it off, especially if it's a loan. Just let it sit there. Then once the loan is paid off, because Bitcoin is up, then if you want to pull it off, that's cool. But I don't think it's anything to be nervous about. All right. So I talked about Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Silicon Valley, Google. I talked about medical research. I just told you guys that. Real estate. Okay. And then of course there's the power of compounding interest. We've done a couple chats and we've talked about compounding interest, and which is one of the things that I really liked about the crypto hedge fund, paying 2 to 4% per week. This past Friday, I made $1,900. I think the other thing you're going to have to learn how to do is when you hear to make a move, unless you have a yellow light in your heart, execute. Because I think what happens sometimes is we have gotten in a habit of not executing or being lethargic or moving slow about making more. I think about, man, what if I would have been slow about buying Bitcoin and just waited? Why you ain't bought it? Just sometimes because we just have not had to get up and go about our money like that. Sometimes maybe it's a little bit of fear because it's an investment, it's new. So you have to really practice. My husband always teased me. He said, you got 2 speeds, faster than a mug. Because once I feel like I've heard, I'm like, let's go, let's get it done. I'm moving with urgency, because you got to think about it. We're already mid-February. So what if I wouldn't have started that crypto hedge fund? I started it in October. So I've already I'm very close to almost breaking even with what I initially put in it. You see what I'm saying? Because I moved on it, or I could have just kept sitting back watching the people that I would consider to be on my wealth advisory team be up. So we have to be really, really careful that we move on it. Today, the next page, I'm talking about Quicksilver. Today, my honey, I had him open my little silver things. They were right down here. Does anybody have those silver boxes? Because I feel like I want to show you guys what I do with it. And I took it upstairs already. Honey. No, he did not. Did y'all hear him? To my Oh, I'm proud of you, babe. Baby, it's right on the steps going up to the third floor, please. Honey, I take care of you. I made your dinner tonight and everything. I want them to see it. Someone they can Google the picture. Okay, I remember that when you asked me to make your dinner. Okay, so anyway, it's these really cool silver containers that you can put your silver in. So my silver came in on Friday. So we opened them up and then I put them all in there. I put them back, right? So that was cool. But what if I wouldn't have started saving silver? I've been saving silver now for the last, I don't know, 7 years, and started on this auto save with Quicksilver probably almost 3 years now. And I've been able to grow. I cashed it out and moved it over into crypto. So I'm saying these things, Jamie, everybody laughing at you. Come on, honey. Anyway, I'm saying that if I hadn't have moved on to, on those things, then I wouldn't be here. You see what I'm saying? So you got to really make sure that you are, when you hear about an opportunity, and once you have the full green light, I am going to do this, execute it and get it done. So that way you're not practicing being lazy with your money. Okay. All right.
Hey, Dr.
Let's
Jewel,
go. Yes.
can I add something to that real quick?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, and I was talking to my team about this recently, when working with people, like I was always wondering, like, why when they hear, they don't move like as quickly as they could or should. And what revelation I got was that it's all about mind renewal. And we all have to put ourselves in a position of personal development, because like I went to school, got my master's, bachelor's, all that good stuff, but I was programmed to only think and move in accordance to how I was taught, right? So what happens is when we get into spaces like this, where it's things that we may not have heard of or that are unfamiliar, sometimes we naturally go to, well, why didn't they teach us that in school? If they didn't teach us that in school, we probably should, it probably ain't real, or it's probably a scam, or it's probably this, or it's probably that. But the reality is we were trained from grade school all the way up to college to think and move the way they want us to think and move, right? So then when they got to the point of, thinking outside the box and posturing yourself to develop and grow, it became a challenge because it was new and you were afraid to make a mistake. Because just think about your math class and they're teaching you how to do 10 times 10, right? And then they want you to show your work, but your work may not look like what they taught you, and you still get to the answer of 100. So instead of rewarding you for thinking outside the box and creating a new solution, they penalize you because you didn't do what they said. So then when it comes to spaces like this and the newness, you hear it, but then you tense up and you're afraid because it's like, wait, I've never heard this before. I didn't learn this back in school. Like, why didn't they teach this? But instead of saying they didn't teach me this, so now let me position myself to be a student and learn. So it's not a bad thing to ask Dr. Jewel questions, right? It's not a bad thing to ask me questions, but even in the asking of questions to get clarification, we also should posture ourselves to be students. Someone put in there unlearn and relearn. So now we have to unlearn the things that they wanted to put us into, go to college, get grades and all that. And I don't knock that. I have the degrees, but I will say in the six figures that of student loan debt that I got to only make $30,000 or $35,000 a year. When I was willing to unlearn and relearn, it flipped, right? Now making six figures, okay, and not having to pay all of that money. So I was able to flip the script because I was willing to unlearn and relearn. And so
Yeah.
if that's you, like she said, that may, position yourself to hear it, but then you get afraid, or you don't move on it, or you may feel like, well, when I get more money, you see what I'm saying? But the key is to start where you can start. When Dr. Jewel first got to me about investing, you guys, literally, I would just do $5 a week. Like, it was the principle of starting. So then to get excited to see that $5 go from $5 to $5.70, it was like, oh, I need to figure out how to create more income so I can keep investing. So I just want to, tackle the mindset, because that may be the reason why some people don't move, because it's a new territory. So we have to posture ourselves to be students so we can.
That's good.
Yeah,
you can
Dr.
move.
Jewel, can I say something?
Yeah, you can, Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, while she was talking, while Camille was talking, she was bringing up a lot of things, because think about it. If you were never taught to take action, and you was always taught that every risk was unfamiliar, it's a mindset, because you're not used to stepping out in the unfamiliar. So when somebody's telling you to do something different, you sort of like, it's like a freeze. It's sort of like it's a paralyzed state, because you're not sure how this is going to go. So like she said, you got to learn what you've learned and change it. So and like she said, well, just do the principle of just starting. So I got to start it so I can teach myself to unlearn the things that I don't take risk and do action on. So I have to learn when things are given to me, don't just sit there and don't do nothing, even if it's $1, even if it's $5. Break that cycle of saying, I can't stay, because I won't change if I keep doing the same thing over and over again.
That's so good. That's so good, Jamie. And just allowing ourselves to be challenged. So my honey, let me show y'all why he wasn't moving. He over there trading, getting the bag. He like, child, don't mess with this bag. You don't want me. But we're both diligent. You see, he working. Most people Sunday night chilling. We on some other stuff. You got to get on some other stuff. You got to tell yourself, I'm not out here trying to be normal like everybody else. And it's nothing wrong with chilling and having a good time Sunday, but we also have very, very big goals. And we know to obtain those goals, we got to be willing to do some uncommon things. So this is my case that I wanted y'all to see. I was excited about that. I put a bunch of silver in here. But this would not be filling up if I wasn't on autosave with silver. This came from autosave because, and this is why auto is so important, because if you're not on auto, then the likelihood of you doing it will be when you think about it, maybe at that one time. One time you might be like, oh, okay, I'm about to go buy some silver. But you need to be on autosave where you keep accumulating silver. And it could be 1 ounce a month. 10 ounces, 20 ounces. But one thing about money attracts money. Money attracts money. So when you always have money coming to you, you're going to always have money coming to you. I'd rather you get on 1 ounce of silver a month, ideally at least 10. But if you can't, just do at least 5. Do something and stay consistent. And even if you have to stop for a while, get back to it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I was heavy on accumulating large amounts of Bitcoin and Ethereum. But then I got to a point where I was like, okay, now what I did, because I was chunking it, chunking it, 10, 20, chunking it. So now I just put myself back on 500 a week, every week. Now I may go over and above that, but I wanted to put myself back on that auto because I know that it's going to happen regardless. So if nothing else, you should be on $10 a week with Ethereum, $10 a week with Bitcoin. Like, make yourself create these habits that you're going to look up and be like, dang, I'm really up. I'm really up. And you know how you got up? Because of consistency. And you weren't out there chasing every rabbit. I get it. I know it can be appealing sometimes, especially if you feel like You've been working in an area and it's not breaking through, but I promise you, you got to work that thing. Okay. All right. Katie said, I learned the money is always flowing. That's why it's called currency. We don't chase it because everything that's chased runs away. So we divert multiple streams of income to flow to us in Jesus' name. Amen. Yes, Robin. Absolutely. Okay. Chapter 9. Appoint your financial cabinet. And we really kind of already talked about this, right? Simply building relationships and networking with people, you're going to grow. The top 5 people who you're closest to, if you look at how much money they make or how much money they're worth, that's probably what you're going to be worth. Okay. If the top 5 people in your circle are making under $100,000 a year, more than likely that's what you're going to make. If the top 5 people in your life are making $5 million a year, then that's probably what you're going to make. So relationships become extremely vital. You can only grow from what you've been exposed to. You can only grow to what you've been exposed to. This is why Newport, Rhode Island and Martha's Vineyard is so important. These exposure trips are vitally important because you got to get around people that you're not used to being around. You got to have conversations that you're not used to having. And I'm telling you guys, and this is why I love this $1 million challenge. You can talk, but it's nothing like doing a screenshot. It keeps you accountable and it keeps you honest. Because when you are in a big playing field, if you're not careful, it'll be easy to be like, yeah, I did this number. And it's like, no, that's not what you really did. Say what you really did. Screenshot that thing. Stay honest with your money dealings. Don't embellish numbers. And maybe you can say, I did that at one time, but don't be like, that's what you do all the time. And maybe that was one time. And that's okay. I'm in a high net worth chat. And if you come in that chat and say that you just bought $100,000 of Bitcoin, it won't be 2 minutes before somebody come back, screenshot, please. I love it though, because it keeps you honest. Don't be out here talking these numbers and that's not the case. Just be honest. Or maybe it was that way, but something happened. That's okay. But be honest. Just be honest with where you are. Hey, this is where I'm believing to go. This is what I really want to do. And this is what I'm working on. Good job, baby. You're a wealth magnet, baby. So, that screenshot is important. Yes, Lakinda, screenshot, because it keeps everybody around you honest. Because when you start playing with big whales and big fish, the screenshots are vital. Again, honest and true. You don't want to start embellishing and making stuff up and that ain't really what you did, because you won't even have to say that. You don't have to say it. So don't let the pressure come on you to act like I share numbers with you guys because I want you to start thinking at an elevated number. I want you to think, I want you to know this stuff. I tell you all the time, these numbers, when my colleagues started sharing these numbers with me, it helped. It said, boop, 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 boop. It was good for me because I was like, okay, I got to think different, right? If somebody was telling me they had an opportunity to take $10,000 to bring on this PR firm, and I said, can I tell you what I would do? She said, yeah. I said, I'll put that $10,000 in this crypto hedge fund. She's like, yeah, you're right, sis. Right? So this is why this financial cabinet is important, but it's going to be up to you to work them because they're not going to necessarily always call you. You got to call them. Let me run this scenario by you. This is what I'm thinking right now. This is what I want to do right now. And every dime that comes in my hand, I'm always asking Holy Spirit, how am I supposed to distribute this? Tithe and offering is never negotiated. I don't play with that. I play no games with that. I think I told the church a story like last week. One of our children had got a lump sum in, and I was just talking to him and giving God praise or whatever. And some kind of way, I said, okay, well, you got to do your tithe and offering. And they said, well, about that. I'm like, what do you mean about that? Make me jump through this phone. That's how you got where you at. You know what I'm saying? And so anyway, the next day, They were like, oh, I got it handled. I was like, yeah, don't ever do that again. Make that always be first. Don't ever put a bill before God. Don't ever put an investment before God. Don't never put nothing, because the minute you start, I'm telling you, get your money out of order, that wealth not gonna flow like it's supposed to. Something gonna break down, something gonna happen, something like, don't do it. It's not worth it. And it might seem like in the beginning it'd be hard because you'd be like, dang, how am I gonna get by with this? I gotta get, trust me, Holy Ghost will figure out a way to increase you. I was broke, now I'm rich. And I'm telling you, I know that that was a foundational principle that God put in me in the very beginning. And I'm so glad that he helped me to stay true to it, but do not play with that. Because if he don't blow on it, it's all gonna crumble anyway. It's like Escobar's money. Escobar, that gangster, one of the biggest drug lords of all time. He had all that money, buried it in the ground. What was the baby in the ground, in the wall? And the worms came up and ate his money. All money is not good money. If you ain't tithed off of that money, tithe and give your tithe and offering to your local church, e-church, wherever. Okay, then after that, the rest can be blessed. Okay. But anyway, so chapter 9 goes into appointing your financial cabinet, which we've talked about that. So I think you guys are pretty clear on that, making sure that you access that. And then next time we'll go into embracing your femininity, which is important. And then we also talk about having a relationship with a very good CPA and an attorney. Everybody needs to have a good CPA. I have an amazing accounting firm that I work with. I work with probably about, I don't know, Mill, how many people we talked to over there? We got Weld, we got Sue, we got Thomas.
Yeah, Weldon, Sue, Thomas, probably like 4 or 5, and they all play a different role.
Yeah.
And so I'm still figuring out how they all work together, but it's working out great.
They keeping me together, keeping me on task and crossing the T's and dotting the I's and closing entities and restructuring that. You got to have a good CPA. You cannot just keep going, when you're, you making under 100,000, you can run up to H&R Block. But I want you to get off of an H&R Block mindset. Nothing wrong with H&R Block, but I'm saying you're going into multiple millions. So you need to have people that really understand money. Ultimately, I want you guys to have business trust, family trust, and private family foundations so that you have very little tax liability, if any. That's where I want you all to go. But while you're on your way there, definitely still making sure that you have a very good relationship with your CPA, that they know what your goals are. They know how much you're trying to scale. I love talking to them. They're like, okay, let's talk about what is the goal for this. So percentage wise, this is where you were. This is where we want to be. How can we get you there? And making sure that everything is above board and legal. So God forbid, if you ever got audited, every T and every I is dotted. They should have access. You can give them separate access to your bank statements where they can pull the information off. Remember, I told you guys, bench.com is the great bookkeeping service. So you can know exactly, like Jamie, you got all those wonderful, beautiful bracelets that you make. Wonderful bracelets. I love them. But you should know, they're going to help you with, Bench will help you know how much did you spend on each bracelet, how much money actually came in on each bracelet, and what was your net profitability at the end of January? What was the net profitability last year after all of your expenses? Did you net? Because if your net wasn't profitable, then maybe you got to go find another vendor that's not as expensive. Or maybe you have to say, let me, negotiate with the vendor that I have. Maybe I got to find a vendor that's closer because this vendor is international. And because international costs have gone up, I need a national one. Or maybe I need to take a trip to China to actually meet with the vendor. I remember we went to Beijing and Shanghai to meet with vendors at one point when I was looking at doing some products to get with them face to face to see what we can negotiate. So, Tay, we got to look at that stuff because sometimes we can love what we're doing, but when the net is not there, that's why I'm breaking down. I'm going to pick up all the furniture for my Airbnb. I've had that thing for a year and a half. we looked at the numbers. And I knew, I was like, okay, I gotta look at these numbers just for this. And and Mill sent over the numbers. She said, well, you made $40. Let me go get this furniture. But had I just been in love with appearances or not wanting to look at the numbers, I could have just kept drinking a Kool-Aid talking about, I got an Airbnb. Who cares if you got an Airbnb if it's not profitable? And of course, all the Airbnbs are not profitable across the board because people aren't renting as much because of 19. And now in Atlanta, Georgia, they're making you actually get a license to have an Airbnb. So they're trying to bring stronger laws that don't make it so easy for Airbnb owners. Now, I don't know if that license is going to cost money. It doesn't matter because I'm out of it because my digital empire is running circles around all of it. So it doesn't make sense for me to have any brick and mortar as far as I'm concerned. And not that I'll never do another real estate deal or whatever, but right now, you know, the digital side is so turbocharged till it's like, why? You know, not that again, I won't ever do it, but you know, I like to, you know, I want to make sure I'm looking at things that really, what is the net? And also understanding that most businesses don't produce the first couple of years, which is why I want you guys to be investors, because even if your business takes a minute to produce, if you've got good investments going, then the profit from those investments are helping to offset you not bringing in net profitability from your, you know, from your business. At least you can, and you can tell yourself, I'm giving myself 2 years or 3 years, or, you know, and of course, always studying who are the top people in that industry and what are they doing? You know, it's like, I know people are starting magazines now, and I'm like, if I was in there, and I love the ideal, it's dope. And if that's just what you want to do, but are you doing the magazine because it's a dope creative idea, or are you doing the magazine because you want to actually create a profit? And if you're doing it because you want to actually create a profit, I hope eventually you're always thinking about profitability, then I need to be talking and see if I can get, you know, on the inside, at least talk to somebody at Essence, talk to somebody at Ebony. Let me ask them some questions and see, you know, what they suggest. You know, because maybe my magazine needs to come out twice a year and not monthly. I heard Oprah talk about that. She's like, I got all these entities, but I had to start shutting down stuff because it was like, that's not paying enough. It doesn't make sense. And so that's why you see some magazines don't come out every month. They come out every quarter, or some of them twice a year, but they have a strong digital aspect, you know, Rolling Out. I know the owner of Rolling Out. He was talking about, you know, the whole industry has just totally changed. So we have to be careful that we're not running after antiquated models. It doesn't mean that that model still cannot be perfected or expanded, but I can't look at doing it the exact same way. Okay. All right. Any questions about anything we talked about, or any aha moments that anyone wants to share?
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Jewel. I have a couple of questions. You talked about getting rid of our personal credit cards. And then today you spoke about the American Express. You have that as part of your LLCs, but do you also have a personal one?
I don't have a personal American Express card anymore. They're all trusts. I have a business trust, American Express, foundation American Express, and family trust American Express. I don't have any more. Well, I do have one personal credit card, but it's a Visa, and I don't really use it, but I just have it. Okay. And I got a lot of those when I was doing real estate, where I was pulling the cash off, buying the property, paying the, you know, using other people's money, so to speak. So I still have it available to me, but I paid them all off because I'm not doing that now. Who knows, another opportunity might come along that I need them. So I'm not going to close them, but the ones that I really use are the American Express.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure. Good question. Anybody else?
Hey, Dr. Joe, I got one more thing. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I don't know. I just been talking a lot lately, but this has been really, really good. One of the things that I would love to challenge the Millionaires ladies on is, and we'll repost it in the Telegram, like the compound calculator, just from a goal setting standpoint. Ask yourself, like, and you can scale it up level by level by level. How much money would you like to see coming in residually through interest bearing methods per month that could cover your lifestyle? And that was something I had to really ask myself, because when you think about the cash flow quadrant, that's where true wealth comes from, that investor quadrant. Many of us have been used to, working or even having your own business, but nothing's wrong with that. But if you set a goal of what do I need to have invested so I can get a return that I can live off of, you then leverage your job, your self-employed activity, your business to help push you towards the goal. So then it gives you, a targeted focus. That's something that I sat down and did. And I was like, okay, this is my first goal. So like, for example, I'm using my crypto hedge fund that makes, anywhere from 2 to 4% a week. So I'm like, okay, so I need to make X amount. I don't remember my number. So that's why I'm just saying X, like X amount to get to this amount every month. And I think if we start individually setting goals like that, it'll give us a more targeted method when we do get extra income or money in and different things like that. It was just something that really inspired me, because it's like, oh, okay, you're closer than what you really thought, and the bench thing that she talked about, we can post that in the chat where you can get a free month to see how it works. I've been using bench for almost 2 years, and it's like I can't not use bench, because to be able to just go on and see what my profit to loss is, to be able to just take that financial package and send it over to my accountant versus, trying to pull QuickBooks, everything and trying to categorize ahead of time. As you start scaling up, you want to, push yourself. So you may be like, okay, that is another expense. So instead of fighting from it because of the expense, ask yourself, how can I produce more for that? Because when you can get those team pieces in place, it opens you up to be able to continue to grow, because you're able to now start delegating things that were taking up your time. So I just wanted to say that.
That's good. That's good. That's good. And a lot of times when you first start this stuff, it's uncomfortable. You start thinking like, can I afford to get bench? I remember when I first interviewed Sue's accounting firm, and then they came back. I had one number I was used to paying bench, and they came back with a whole. I was like, but once I did it, I was like, oh girl, it created the structure that I needed. You just have to remember, you can't take yourself to the next level. People that try to operate and do everything, you can't be the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. Like, I'm not good at everything. Hire your weakness. You know what I mean? Don't be afraid to bring in that help. That's how you're able to scale, right? It's all about scalability. Okay, anybody else?
I'm wondering how much we should be, charged by an accountant for I have an S Corp, and for the accountant to manage that for me, they offered something like $3,000. I don't know if that's a lot, if that's a little.
Month or a year?
Huh?
A month or a year?
I think it's a year probably.
Oh, okay.
What are they? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but what all are they doing? What all are they doing? Because like Dr.
Well, they haven't done anything yet. I just,
okay.
That's what they offered to do. So I didn't know if that was expensive or what.
So with bench, for their lower tier, and they do it based off of the number of transactions you have, but their lowest tier, which is the one that I have, is $159 a month, which equates to $1,900 a year. But if you pay for the year up front, you're only spending like $1,400 or $1,500 for the year.
Okay, so, because I think Dr. Jules, or you said that, okay, you have bench, but you get that information and then you give it to your accountant. So you have your accountant and bench. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and my accountant, she only charges to file the taxes, and that's only a couple $100.
Okay,
But Dr. Jewel's accountant is set up to do all her bookkeeping, reconciling taxes, and all of that. So her for probably like 8 entities. So her monthly looks different, you know.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Thank you.
These are good questions though, and ask those questions. What exactly are you doing? Because you don't need legal services. You need reconciliation of all the expenses and all the income that's come in, which bench is nice because I think we were paying bench, under $200 per account is based on how many transactions you have, and then let the accountant actually file it. And that shouldn't be too much. So I would definitely get some details on that. How many entities are they doing it on, and how many transactions on average are, is happening in that account? So yeah, good question. Anybody else?
Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Hey.
Hey, I started collecting silver last month, so I'm doing right now 1 ounce a month.
Okay, girl.
Until I can do more. So I wanted to see like how can I leverage that for profits, and like when should I attempt to do that?
So good job. So I would just, with the silver, I would just accumulate all year. And then, at the end of the year, or maybe the end of next year, then cash out. Right now you're buying spot price about $23. So if you see that bad boy by the end of the year is at 27, you cashing out. If it's down to 14, hold on, But yeah, I would hold it and then I would cash it out and move it to crypto. Some people would just like to hold it forever. Again, crypto just got me all the way turned out. It's just, it moves so fast when you compare it percentage wise of growth, it just beats everything so bad. So I would just hold it and then cash it out eventually. All right, great question. Anybody else?
Hey, I have a quick question. How are you?
Hey, girl, how are you?
We paid off our mortgage last year, and I was wondering if we should like rent it out or just sell it, in your opinion.
Did somebody say something? Okay. I would probably sell it. I'm not a big proponent now of tenants. You have ongoing issues with, plumbing, electrical, roof. You don't know how they're going to maintain the property, because most renters, unless they're paying a lot, they just don't value your property like you value it. So by the time you get done with all of the expenses of rent, even though it's paid off, because my entire real estate portfolio was paid off, but still, by the time I got done with property taxes and homeowners insurance and property management and little incidentals that came up, I was still like, girl, what are you doing? So if they're paying $1,200 a month, I maybe netted $600, but I'd rather take that and buy crypto or put it in a hedge fund. So I would sell it. I would get the cash for it and then take it and put it in crypto or crypto hedge fund. That's what I would probably do.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Katie. And congratulations on your pool. I love it. Okay.
So yeah, sorry, I have a lot of questions, but are you just, when you buy your Bitcoin, are you just automatically moving it to your hedge fund?
No. So buying Bitcoin and putting in a hedge fund are two different things. Buying Bitcoin should be you holding it. And as it goes up, you get price appreciation. The hedge fund just allows you to earn profit on your investment. It is not an entity of which you could grow and accumulate a crypto portfolio. The crypto hedge fund makes profit for you, but it's not going to grow your crypto portfolio, right?
Okay, so once you buy it, what are you doing with it? Once you buy to hold it, I mean, where you
buy to hold it, I would hold it in a wallet like Exodus.
Oh, you're holding it in Exodus. Okay.
Exodus or Nano Ledger.
Okay.
Okay. All right, anybody else questions that I haven't heard from tonight? Juanita, you got a question, babe?
Yeah, how you doing, Dr. Jewel? Can you
Hey.
elaborate a little bit on the medium.com? I signed up. I just don't know what to do next with the medium. You dropped in the chat, the token, dealing with the token.
Oh, you talking about expat super bid?
Yeah, that there.
Okay. Okay, did you watch the video?
Is it connected to a video? It look like there's a link to sign up. That's a video.
Mm-mm. I did not drop anything to sign up on any coin. I dropped, you got to move all your super bid over to a new coin called Xpad, and they're giving you $1 per dollar on it. And you have 30 days to do that. But I didn't drop anything in there saying sign up for any coin.
Oh.
I don't know anything about Medium.
Yeah, the link you put in the instant view, I hit that, and I just went on and created an account because I didn't have one. So
okay, so Medium, Dr. Jewel, was part of the link, I guess the website where the information was. So once you actually click on the link, if you go down to the process on that homepage, it gives you the steps that you need to take to convert your super bid over to the new token, which is XPAD. So you didn't have to create an account or anything. So you don't have to do nothing with that account. Just go back to that link if you already have super bid. And if you scroll to the very bottom where it says the process, it gives you step by step of what you need to do. If you already have super bid in MetaMask, just make sure you have enough Ethereum because there are gas fees associated with the conversion so that it can be staked. But I did it today in this tonight actually in the step by step right there, that 1 through 6. It worked seamless.
And
so, yes.
And you know they're supposed to be giving you, I think, $100. Good job, baby.
70
I think they're supposed to be giving you $100 a T-pad to offset your Ethereum fees. Did you see that, Mill?
Yeah, it's 70 tokens.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, great.
Okay. Tay's so cute. She said, Mill's so smart. Yeah, she is, Tay. Katie's so sweet. Katie said that was her faith post about her housekeeper name is Olivia and her pool guy name is Scotty. Thank you for your honesty, but we agree it is manifesting this year in Jesus' name. All right, anybody else?
Hi, this is Carla. 2 quick questions. One, so super bid, and that's a coin.
Yeah, did you buy super bid?
No, I didn't. I came into this group after that. So no.
Oh, okay.
So okay, so that is a coin. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the other question, so is Novatech, then would that be considered a hedge fund for crypto?
It is, yes, ma'am. It's a crypto hedge fund that grows your money 2 to 4% per week on your investment. You put in 10,000, you're going to average $200 to $400 a week. You put in, 100,000, you're going to average, what is that? $2,000 to $4,000. No, you put in 100,000. What is that? 2%. Yeah, $2,000 to $4,000. Yeah, $2,000 to $4,000 every week. So whatever dollar amount you put in, 2 to 4% per week. You put in 1,000. I recommend you start with at least 1,000. You could do 500, but yeah, that's what that is. So earlier when we were talking about figure out how much money you need to live off of, the idea is to invest enough where you could ultimately live off of that.
Amen.
Okay. All right. Anybody, any other questions that did not go tonight?
And you said that money is in Bitcoin, right? In Novatech.
Yes. You have to fund it in Bitcoin, and then they pay you out every Friday in Bitcoin.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Dr. Jewel, it's Janelle. Can you hear me?
Hey girl, I can.
Hi. So I didn't really have a question, but it just really resonated with me when you're talking about vetting your, any investments that you're going to make. So like you've mentioned, I'm a big proponent of taking fast action. I've been in silver for 2 years now. I think I started with 1 ounce and I went to 2, but now I'm at 4 ounces. So I've got a few thousand in silver, and I won't even talk about how much I have in crypto and Superbit and all those other currencies. So that's I'm really good on that front. And I'm just so glad that you mentioned vetting Novatech. So I started, I think earlier last month or so, whenever we spoke about it, with 1,500. And this week I'm going to be putting in 20K. But I'm just glad that you mentioned that you vetted it, because it makes, I mean, I trust you, obviously. I trust you. So I'm just glad that you vetted it for us, because, you know, this is life changing. This is life changing, this stuff.
It
So
is, girl. How long have you been in the club?
I've been in the club since October, but I work very closely with Dr. Stacia as well. And so I've been kind of put on to a lot of this stuff for a while. So
I love it. I'm so proud of you. That is awesome. And thank you for sharing the numbers. People, our community, we're so used to being like, don't tell them how much. Don't tell. No, tell. Do tell. Whether it's a small number or a bigger number, because that's how your faith grows. For the people who think I'm gonna wait till I get more, they'll be like, oh, they started with 250. I need to start with 250. You know what I'm saying? At least they started. Or if you started with 1,500, you're like, this week I'm going there for 20,000. I'm like, wait a minute now. I mean, we need to hear that. So I really just appreciate your transparency in that, because when you hear that, like we had somebody, they said they're about to drop $1 million. You know, you need to hear that, because then you're like, okay, let me, unlearn and relearn some things. So very proud of you on the silver. Good job on that. And definitely good job on increasing that to 20. Can't wait to see those earnings. Put those screenshots in there, girls. That $1 million challenge. I love it.
I can't wait either. Thank
I love
you.
it. All right. Absolutely. Okay. Y'all know I love those testimonies. Okay. One last one before we wrap tonight. Dolores?
Yes. How are you? Can you hear me?
Hey, girl.
Yeah, I was just basically listening to the previous Millionairess, where she says she's going to drop 20K into a Novatech. That was one of my questions, because I came into some money. I can't see how I came into it, but it was due to inheritance. And I was going to drop 20K into Novatech because I saw how it would grow with just, even if it's 2.5% or 3%, that after 52 weeks, I would have over $90,000. And I'm like, wow, this is where this money needs to sit, because it's been sitting in the bank since last year of April. And when they sent me my tax thing to do my taxes, I was shocked. I had made no money. I was something to get my money out this bank. It made me mad. I couldn't believe it. When I showed my kids, that they would say, that money just been sitting there and they've been spending your money, but you ain't made no money. I hadn't made any money.
Yeah.
Not like I'm making, with just a little 5,000 I put in it, and so I'm just going to add the other 22 and say, be done with it. Be done with the bank.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just want to say, again, I'm proud of you guys. And I just have to say this, as a savvy investor, remember, everything is an investment. Yes, I have vetted these things, but everything is a risk. It is a risk if you do, and it is a risk if you don't, because then you'll be like, Dolores, I didn't do it, but I risk not making any money. Or I can risk doing it, huh?
That's true.
and I can risk so I just have to say that, being a savvy investor, I always want to let people know that I vetted it. I feel good in my spirit, but it's all an investment. So if you keep that in mind, you never have to worry about, oh my gosh, she said, or he said, or all of it is investment. So all of it is a risk. It's a risk if you do. The risk is, if you do, you might end up making a whole lot of money. And God forbid something happen, then you don't. But if you don't, you end up not growing nearly as fast as you could have grown. You could have grown a lot faster, further, and all that. I'm willing, once I've done my due diligence, I know the players, I'm like, I'd rather do this than that money just sitting in this savings account. Like you said, it ends up costing you money. If you start in January with 100,000, by December, it's not going to be 100,000 in a savings account. It'll probably be like 99, 7 or something. But you literally are losing when you are just doing a traditional savings. So guys, this chat has been amazing. I missed y'all last week, so we went over a little bit, but I'm about to get over here and watch my boo. Look at him, he's over there trading so good, baby. Now we're about to go back to the movie though, honey. All right. I love y'all. Have a good night. Bye. See you later.
you.
Thank you.
Good night. Love
Thank you. Bye-bye.
From the Newport.
Bless you. Thank you.
Good
Love
night.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.